Little update, June 30th, and we are out here on Vela. The last few weeks have been pretty epic. A lot of what we're doing out here is looking for waves on kind of every little corner of reef. But with that comes a lot of hiding from the weather, and just trying to time when you get to those areas. I'm finding that a lot of the waves that I want to go to, the anchorages are really exposed. And so we kind of have to sneak out when the weather's good and then go sneak to some island to hide out when the weather's bad. And the weather's it's not bad, but it's really windy around here a lot of the time. It's just the raw southeast trade winds. Over the last couple months, I've been watching the weather for a bit now, and from what I'm starting to see is this cycle for this time of year is that a low pressure passes over New Zealand and it'll kind of suck all the wind out of the Fiji area, causing like light winds up here for a couple days. And then right behind the low pressure New Zealand, there's a high pressure behind it, and then once that passes over New Zealand, it actually squeezes all the trade winds really close together, causing accelerated trade winds. So it squeezes the trade winds between the kind of doldrums and the high pressure off of New Zealand, and it makes them really strong, like 20 to 40 knots. And so it's kind of like, it seems like it's been about like 5-6 days of wind, maybe even up to 10 days of wind, and then a few days of light wind. So we've been sneaking off to other anchorages, but it's pretty cool because we end up in some pretty amazing places, and you know, they might not be great for surf, but it's some of the best scenics that I've ever seen. And so I have Lauren and Darwin on the boat, and going to these places makes it really good because we've been taking time to teach them to swim, and it's just the most beautiful places to teach someone to swim. And he's been really loving it. The water is crystal clear. He's starting to look at the fish underwater, things like that. So we're loving that. It feels like a really good balance of surf and family adventure. All those days that we're out on the tender all day, kind of going to find little beaches for Darwin, I pretty much live in my UPF Utilities shirt and my Hydro Tights. I have the new 2-in-1 long leg ones, and I just live in that all day. Just so much time in the sun on the boat, and I find that it really helps me not turn crusty out here. Right now we're anchored off a small little island. There's a couple of reefs I've been looking at on Google Earth, and the one wave that we actually came for, the wind ended up being bad for it, so we went around the corner to anchor and found that wind that was bad for it was good for a wave on the other side of the island, which I wouldn't have expected any swell to get into. And so that's always really nice surprise. It's not huge waves, but it was pretty epic. It was 4-foot blue water offshore barrels all day, no one around. And then today we woke up to like a new southwest swell filling in, and I had been really curious to see what that would do on this reef that's on the other side of the island. And there's like a left that I've been looking at, and so that seemed like it was going to be really good. And then we woke up and it was pretty gnarly. Eric paddled into the island early to get set up to film. He's such a beast. He packs all his camera gear into a Yeti Panga backpack, and then carries it on the inflatable SUP, and then he has to time it through the reef with all the waves in order to make it to the beach to film. And then I kind of paddled out a little bit after that, and the wave is just really fast. It's pretty shallow and not super surfable. I wore my aero shield because I was just thinking it looked like it was just dry reef, so I was like, if I'm gonna bump off the reef, I'd rather have a little bit of neoprene between me, and so it seemed like it was a good thing for that. I'm sitting here now watching it off the boat, and I'm watching as the tide changes. You know, I thought it was a really high tide wave, but it didn't. It seemed still too shallow for that. So now I'm kind of hoping that maybe the tide drops out and the swell grows and it moves off to another ledge. You just never really know with these things, so I'm just gonna have to sit and wait and watch. And for me, it doesn't matter if these are good waves or bad waves or too shallow or too gnarly. It's the fun of being out here and these kind of surfing these new waves. Like the excitement I had this morning of like kind of hearing the swell and feeling it on the boat at the anchorage building, and then waking up not having no idea what this wave is going to do. And for me, that having that excitement makes it all worth it. And, you know, hopefully one day I'll wake up to a wave that has 10-second barrels, but today it's a dry reef semi closing out left.